The G8 has currently repackaged the commitments they made in 2005 at Gleneagles. And if you see the pledge they made for Africa, it's about 27 billion. To date, they've only delivered about 9.7, which is only a third. And given the global financial crisis, you see that the economies in Africa are at the brink of collapse. So there is an emergency. And we are looking at a situation where we don't need more commitments and promises. We actually need timetables where people who are failing to meet their timetables also have penalties. As it stands right now, the G8 can afford to make more promises and more promises without any proper pledges. And then also, if you look at the current situation of the global financial crisis, the G8 nations have a lesson to learn, because when you see the bailout packages for the US and the American banks, it is clear that it's a major emergency which requires us to move quite fast when you look at the poor people in Africa and how they are likely to perform under the current circumstances.
This G8 follows the pattern of other G8s that we've seen, where there is not the kind of urgency that reflects the fact that what we are dealing with is a daily passive genocide or a daily silent tsunami that is going on, where 50,000 men, women and children die every single day from preventable causes. This reality needs urgency. If, for example, 50,000 people were dying in Western Europe and North America, you can be guaranteed that the G8 would long ago have found the money to address the problem. So we have in the past said they are always like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic while the Titanic is sinking. But right now, with the financial crisis, the climate crisis, all of them coming together, what we're seeing is they're throwing a lifeboat for the most powerful and the elite in terms of bankers and car manufacturers to the tune of $20 trillion, and leaving ordinary people in rich and poor countries to sink and drown. Our other criticism of this G8 is that they are dealing with the different problems in a very compartmentalized way, not integrating them. For example, if a fraction of the $20 trillion was used for creating and investing in green jobs, we would have two positive outcomes. One, we'd be addressing the financial crisis by getting more people into employment and creating sustainable, decent work in the long term. On the other hand, we'll also be addressing climate change. So one of the weaknesses of this G8 is that they are not recognizing that we can't treat each of these problems as if they are compartmentalized. These problems are all interconnected. Like, for example, they are talking tomorrow about agriculture and food aid, and food security, which is great, but they're not linking it to the question of trade, right? And they know that in Europe, the European Union subsidizes every European cow to the tune of €2 a day, when half the people on this planet live on less than that. So we are disappointed that there has not been the kind of urgency. The words on paper mean nothing. Words are not going to feed the 1 billion people that are going hungry, according to the United Nations right now. And we know from previous experience, the commitments that they make and what they deliver on is two different things. So there's no reason we would be very foolish to be optimistic about even some nice sounding commitments that they've actually made.